Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Friday Charge, brought to you by Geek Studios. As always, we are your hosts, Joel and Sebastian, and today, September 5th, 2025, we've got a handful of topics we're going to talk about. We've got some ID.4 news, we've got some cool new Porsche stuff, we've got some weird Robotaxi situation, and we'll probably talk about a few other things while we're here. So, without further ado, let's plug in and get started. All right, our first topic of the day. Volkswagen is pausing ID.4 production. Volkswagen US has been having a hard time pushing its ID.4 SUV this year, with the model posting 65% less sales in Q2 2025 compared to Q2 2024. This is despite the fact that Volkswagen is basically blowing these cars out. I mean, they're offering leases as low as $129 a month on a car that has an MSRP of starting around 40 grand. As a result, Volkswagen has announced this week that they will be, starting in October, pausing production of the electric SUV at its Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. Volkswagen expects that around 160 employees will be furloughed. However, they will continue to be paid 80% of their salary, as well as maintain their benefits. So I don't have that many more notes on this other than I'm not too surprised based on kind of what we've heard about ID.4 this year. But it still sucks because we have a video coming in like 2 weeks of a Volkswagen ID.4, and we
Yep.
both actually were semi-impressed with it, especially compared to the earlier model year we had driven previously. But it's also become a very crowded market. I mean, there's a lot of competition there, and we'll talk about this more later, but there's a lot of vehicles I could see someone picking before they landed on the ID.4.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I mean, it looks like it says Volkswagen sold fewer than 2,000 ID.4s between April and June, which
Mm-hmm.
is not that good. And it says although ID.4 is the third best selling EV in the U.S. in January, it's lost its $7,500 tax credit, and it just went
Yep.
boo. So yeah, I mean, the ID.4 has come a long way. I mean, it was one of the OG, first electric vehicles out there. Once electric vehicles started getting mass produced, and we drove an earlier one. The software was very clunky, and then we drove a newer one, and we were thoroughly impressed with what the Volkswagen Group had done with their software, with how it drove. It was really good. Just a shame to see this happen. So hopefully we will see it come back here in the next few months. But maybe there's kind of like a wait and see pattern to see what happens because I have a feeling after our interview last night with the electric duo, I think we're going to see some rough EV sales coming up in the last quarter of this year.
Yeah, I agree. So, moving on, this is cool. This is also Volkswagen related in a roundabout way. Porsche has unveiled wireless charging. So, this week, Porsche unveiled the next trick for the upcoming high-end EV, inductive charging. Porsche's inductive charger is capable of delivering up to 11 kilowatts to the car, and it works in a pretty cool way. When you're parking, the car will guide you using the front camera. Once aligned, the car will lower itself to only be about 4 to 6 inches from the charging pad. Porsche claims that the pad can charge at 90% efficiency, features active cooling, and is able to detect motion, so automatically shut off if an animal skitters over it or if any other object gets in between the car and the pad. Pricing has only been revealed for the European market, but the vehicle option costs 2,000 euros, which is around 2,300 US dollars at current exchange rates, and the pad will cost an additional 5,000 euros, or about 5,800 US dollars in current, exchange rates. This is just one trick that the new Cayenne EV has up its sleeve. Porsche also recently revealed that the car will be capable of charging at up to 400 kilowatts through a DC fast charger, meaning it's one of the fastest charging cars on paper outside of the forbidden fruit that we don't get that's in China.
Yes.
So yeah, this is just super cool. This is wireless charging for EVs has been one of those things that's been teased forever. Tesla says they're going to do it with their new Robotaxi or Cybercab, whatever they're calling it. That has yet to materialize. We'll see. And so it's cool to see Porsche show this off. It'll be interesting to see if it actually is available at launch or if this is just them kind of doing a similar thing that Tesla has done where, oh, look, it can do it, but they're only doing it in testing type situation. Yep. That said, seeing kind of the implementation of it, where the vehicle guides you using all the sensors that it has, and the vehicle automatically lowers itself down to be as close to the pad as possible, like that's super cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I don't know if I'm more impressed with that or the cool Cayenne Porsche wrapping that we're seeing in this picture right here. That's some really cool looking wrapping that Porsche did for this. Yeah, I mean, this is something that Tesla has teased for a while. This, they bought some patents or they got some patents or bought out some companies that did wireless charging. I mean, technically it's not wireless. It is still plugged in, but you're not having to,
Well,
yeah. So it's like this
it's
iPhone
not
is
plugged into the car.
It's not plugged into the car, yeah. But yeah, I think this is really cool. I think that's a very steep price though. I don't know how many people would pay, maybe $8,000 total for wireless charging when they could get a unit for $1,000 put into their house to actually just plug into their car.
I mean,
Yeah, it's cool.
The kind of people that buy a Porsche Cayenne,
it's the
right?
kind of people that buy a Porsche Cayenne. So I'm assuming if you can afford a Porsche Cayenne, probably can afford a wireless charging.
What's the extra $8,000?
Yeah. Now, no offense, but if you're a Chevy Bolt buyer, probably not getting the wireless charging.
That would probably be correct.
Nope, that's like a third. I'd be right now, probably be half the price of the car. So, yeah, pretty cool. I'm glad we're seeing some new innovation come around. I love to see if they get those charging rates that they say they can. 400 kilowatts on a DC fast charger. Yeah, I mean, that would be nice. That would be really nice. There would not be.
Of course, that means in the U.S. there's like one charging network that could currently.
There's one, yeah.
Two charging networks that can currently do that kind of power. But hey, you know what? It's coming, right?
Yep, you always want to plan for the future. I don't blame it.
Moving on. This is a really funny topic to me. Joel knows why.
Yep.
Mustang Mach-E has its strongest sales month ever. Ford's Mustang Mach-E, after having slower sales due to a few recall/stop sale situations, just posted its strongest sales month ever. Last month, Ford moved 7,226 Mach-E's, which is a 35% year-over-year increase and the biggest month since the model went on sale, just period. The Lightning also did well last month, gaining 21.2%. This is just really interesting to me because I'll be curious to know if the Mach-E continues to grow like this because, as we all know, the U.S. federal tax credit for EVs is going away at the end of this month. And the Mach-E currently doesn't qualify for it anyway. So the Mach-E is gaining these sales basically on its own merit.
Yep.
And so it'll be interesting to see once the tax credit goes away, the Mach-E kind of becomes one of the cheaper electric crossovers you can get.
Yep.
Hyundai Ioniq 5 will be more expensive without tax credit starting out. Equinox is right there around the same price. It'll be really interesting to see if they continue growing in the same manner because, and Joel knows why that's funny to me.
Yes, it is. Also, let's not leave the Lightning out. 21% sales growth too. So good. But not too good for the E-Transit cargo van, plunged 76% to just 228 units. So yeah.
Oh,
Ford, yeah. But Ford seems to be having a good month compared with all the other EV automakers out there. So kudos to them, especially doing this without the tax credits. Hopefully they can keep this momentum into, August, September, and October at the end of the quarter here and finish out strong. But yeah, we know we got some cool things coming from Ford with their release announcement. It was a week or two ago with their new Skunks Works, what they were doing there with the focus on cheaper EVs and maybe not on the big ones, which I think is a very smart move by them because they've already kind of got that footing down over in Europe. So yeah, kudos to Ford.
Moving on, this topic is interesting. The Robotaxi situation for Tesla is getting a little strange. So Tesla's Robotaxi service, which I think we talked about last week, recently expanded in Austin. But there's a weird new twist now. The safety passenger is now a safety driver. For those who haven't followed along, the Robotaxi service in Austin has had a safety passenger in the vehicle. So there's been someone sitting in the passenger seat of the car who's capable of kind of stopping the car, contacting service, etc., if any issues arise while the vehicle is being driven. But it's been a big point that they are not in the driver's seat of the car. Except now they are. Tesla claims that this change is due to the Robotaxi now operating on highways, but the timing of this is a little suspicious. Texas Senate Bill 2807 went into effect on September 1st, which was Monday, And it introduces a host of new regulations for companies wishing to operate autonomous fleets in the state. One of the new requirements changes the definition of an automated motor vehicle, classifying it now as needing to meet level 4 or 5 autonomy as defined by the SAE. If it doesn't meet this requirement, then a human driver is required to be in the driver's seat. And so, for those unfamiliar, level 4 and 5 systems will never require a human to take over the car. And I believe, Joel, you've got the graphic that I have here in the doc.
Oh, I do.
So we can talk about this because the SAE levels are very interesting.
Get it up here, and we are set to go.
So most of our driver's assistance right now is SAE level 2, right? So this is you are in the driver's seat, and even if your feet are not on the pedals and you are not actively steering, you are expected to be constantly supervising and ready to take over at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Sound familiar?
Yep.
Kind of like how FSD currently operates.
Yep.
So SAE level 3 means you are not driving when the features are engaged, even if you are in the driver's seat. However, if the car requests, you must drive.
So could I be reading my phone or reading a book and looking at my phone on a level 3?
Correct. As long
Okay.
as you are ready to take over if the car asks you to.
Gotcha. So I'm not in the back seat doing something. I got to be in the passenger
Right.
driver's seat ready to take the car over. Okay, gotcha.
Level 4 and 5 state that is the same as level 3, except those features will not require anyone to take over driving.
Okay.
Meaning you can be fully checked out, fully clocked out. The car will never ask you to start driving.
Put the seat back, take a nap, listen to some cool music on my headphones.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was an interesting part of this new legislation in Texas too, is it defines that for the purposes now that we're saying that you can only technically classify it as an automated vehicle if it's level 4 or 5, that any traffic citations or incidents are the responsibility of the vehicle.
Ooh.
So that would mean the responsibility of Tesla in this case, if it was, whoever is operating the vehicle, not
So if it's a
necessarily
level
the person
4,
sitting
level
in the driver's
5,
seat.
if it's a level 4, level 5, and it blows to a red light and hits someone, it's on Tesla,
If
not
the
the
system
driver.
was engaged, then
If
it's
it was
on
engaged,
Tesla.
gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
That's interesting. And I also noticed it says here that the level 4 pedals and steering wheels may or may not be installed. So that's interesting as well too. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so this is super interesting to me because as we kind of know, with the way the Robotaxi has been used previously, that safety passenger, while they're technically not driving, they are constantly supervising, constantly ready to take over, etc. And so, I mean, this would be, I think, previously you could call it a level 3 system.
Yep.
However, due to these new Texas regulations, since it's not level 4 or level 5, I think that's probably why they had to move someone back to the driver's seat.
So are we seeing this same thing happen in California? Because they've opened it up
California,
out there.
they never had the safety passenger. They were always in the driver's seat in California.
Okay, gotcha. Because I'm assuming that's California state law. So yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So anyway, this is super interesting. Again, Tesla hasn't officially stated that the law is the reason they're doing it, but hearing what everything I just said and kind of reading through the law earlier, which was a very fun task. It's pretty lengthy. It says the words automated motor vehicle like 700 times. Reading through it, though, it seems hard for me to believe that this wouldn't be because of a law that went into effect.
Gotcha. Also, something that just popped up, Sebastian. I don't know if you noticed this. This is about a few hours about the new autonomous driving standards coming through the transportation department.
Mm-mm.
So I will share. I mean, it's very wordy. I was going to tell you that before we recorded. It did come up here. So this is the new automated vehicle framework. So these are kind of the new things down here they're proposing. Transmission, shift position, sequence starter, interlocking transmission, braking effect. I don't know what these things are. We could talk more about it, but it looks like there's also stuff coming down at the national level regarding autonomous driving that I think they want to clean some stuff up too with that. So yeah. So
Gotcha.
So it says the exemption will continue to allow manufacturers to up to 2,500 motor vehicles per year that do not fully comply. So yeah, I don't know what it's all about. There's a lot of mumbo jumbo here. I haven't been able to read or look at agendas, but just wanted to share this with our listeners and viewers. Just Google NHTSA autonomous driving standards. It'll be one of the first things that will prop up. They say it's going to prioritize safety while eliminating redundant requirements. So some nice Thursday night, some nice weekend reading there for you all if you guys want to, do some weekend reading.
All right, Joel. I think there's something we need to talk about.
Is there an elephant in the room?
Well, I wouldn't call it an elephant.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to ask me?
Sebastian, did you get a new car?
I did.
Sebastian got a new car, everyone. Sebastian, did you get another Bolt?
No.
Ah, I'm so ready to do a whole 2-bolt EV episode with you. So yeah, dang it. All right, so let everyone know what you got. I'm assuming it's probably one of those Porsches we were looking at, correct?
Oh yeah.
A Macan, Taycan, maybe a Lucid.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
no. So I'm sure we'll do a whole video on this at some point. But if you're listening, you can get the story before there's a video. You're welcome.
Insider scoop.
So let's back up. Before last Thursday, so more insider scoop.
Technically Wednesday.
Yeah. Last week's Friday Charge episode was filmed on Wednesday.
Yes.
Because somebody decided a concert was more important than doing a podcast.
Hey, it bit me in the butt because what happened when I came back? The entire house got sick. So I'm Max. We did a great interview last night with 2 great EV people, and I got on, and I was like, Sebastian, you're gonna have to do this solo, man. I can't talk 2.5 minutes without sounding like I smoke 3 packs a day. You can still sound, my voice is still not recovered yet. But yeah, so that's what happens when you bail on the show and go to a concert with your son. You get the payback. So yep.
Anyway, so that's why this wasn't on last week's episode, because technically I had this car Friday of last week. But anyway, so Thursday. Well, okay, going back. So
first off,
Thursday,
this was a pretty quick decision y'all made. I mean, it wasn't this was like, hey, we're looking for a car 3 months ago and looking. You talked about it over the weekend, and then by Friday you're like, man, I got a car. So
yeah,
and I found it for you. Let's say that.
True.
Yeah.
So before Thursday of last week, we were a 1 EV household. So we had my Chevy Bolt, and then we also had a 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe, SEL all-wheel drive. Anyway, it was getting a little long in the tooth. Not that bad. I mean, it's 2019, had 110,000 miles on it, but I had some concerns with the vehicle. Full disclosure, it had been in 2 wrecks. Neither my fault, but nonetheless, had been in 2 wrecks, and so there was it had been repaired pretty well, but on the front end, they didn't use an OEM headlight. They used an aftermarket headlight, which meant it developed condensation after a year. Little things like that, and it caused some weird issues, like the turn signal would randomly not work. Not a huge deal, but annoying. And also, for those who know that, are aware, it had the Hyundai 2.4 liter 4-cylinder, which is a little notorious, and there's been a few class action lawsuits about that engine, just spontaneously exploding.
That's not good, Sebastian.
And the car had been, no issues.
But you ran it hard though. You took your long trips in that thing and things like that. So
yeah. And we had no major issues with the car. It was fine. Everything that was wrong with the car was our own fault, except for it getting wrecked twice, which wasn't our fault. One time was we got rear-ended, and the other time was a piece of a trailer lost its fender on the interstate, and it flew across 3 lanes of traffic and hit me as I was merging in onto the interstate. That was not a fun day. I was so upset. That was also a month after it got rear-ended. We had just gotten it back from the body shop.
I'm sure your shorts that loved you those 2 months, even though it wasn't your fault, though.
It wasn't my fault, so I didn't pay for it. Anyway, so my wife last weekend or 2 weeks ago, just out of the blue, kind of sent me a text. She goes, hey, find me something electric. I'm tired of this.
You're like, okay, I could do that.
I was like, Yes, sir.
Lucid gravity, let's go.
And so I had some pretty hard and fast personal requirements for myself. I wanted to get something that charged faster than a Chevy Bolt. I wanted to feel like I had a good deal. I wanted an SUV. I didn't want a Tesla Model Y.
And it's nothing against Tesla.
The Tesla Model Y.
He's been in mine several times, so he knows why. Yeah.
Yeah. The early Model Ys, which is what would have been in my budget. I wasn't getting no 2023, 2024 Model Y. That wasn't happening. The early Model Ys ride like garbage. Like,
pure
just full
garbage.
Stop. Every single one of them, doesn't matter what wheels they're on, doesn't matter whatever. They're just not for someone who would just be using it for commuting. It wouldn't be a good time.
In the South, not on very good roads most of the time.
Yeah. I just wasn't interested in that. Plus, I knew, I'm still not fully sold on everything on the touchscreen business. I like having some physical control, things like that. Anyway, so Model Y was pretty much out of it immediately. And so we started looking. And Joel, you helped some with this. And I had kind of narrowed it down to, I had like 3 options I was kind of bouncing between. 4. I was bouncing between a base model Equinox, new, because with federal tax credit would have been $27,500. I was bouncing around the idea of a lightly used Ioniq 5, a lightly used EV6, because same car basically. And I was loosely playing around with trying to maybe find a newer, lower mileage ID.4. Because like we were talking about earlier, they haven't sold super well, but Volkswagen has made a lot of improvements to that car. And they're built super well. They seem to be pretty dang reliable. Anyway, so those are kind of the 4 cars I was kicking around.
Why wasn't the Mach-E on your short list? If there would have been 5, it would have been probably number 5, yeah.
Yeah. And really, ultimately, that one boiled down to local inventory issues.
Yep, it's true.
If I was doing a Mach-E, I would want to make sure I got the big battery. Because I just 240 miles of range, EPA wasn't going to cut it. I needed more than that.
Yep.
That's less than my Bolt.
Yep.
And so I was like, that would put me in bigger battery territory. And then there was some creature comforts, like my wife's, was used to having heated seats, wanted heated seats. My wife would love to have had a heated steering wheel, just things like that, Mach-E wouldn't have necessarily gotten me in the price range I wanted. Because, base Mach-E doesn't come with heated seats or a heated steering wheel or any of that fun, cool stuff.
Still a great car, just didn't have the features that you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least not in the price range I wanted.
Yeah.
Anyway, so those are kind of my 4 options. And so tossed around, played around with ideas, throwing around, kind of thinking about a lot of various things, and ended up finding a Ioniq 5 here in Little Rock. Didn't have to go very far.
One of the dealers that we work with.
One of the dealers that we've worked with before. For $24,000. Certified pre-owned, 2023 SEL, 40,000 miles.
Yeah.
And after talking to a few people, I've reached out to our friend at Devolve and was just like, hey, what are these going for at auction? And the number he gave me at the time was 26 to 28.
Because he has one for sale for 29. That was really nice. All-wheel drive, low mileage. It's the matte finish, but it was a little bit out of your price range.
Right.
So,
and he told me 26 to 28. I was like, okay, that's makes me feel decent about 24 price. And then as I'm looking, there weren't any others cheaper.
Yeah.
It was the cheapest one within like a reasonable radius of us.
Yep.
That was, that trim level, big battery, all that jazz.
They had some that I found for that price. They were 70, 80, 90,000 miles. It was almost double the mileage. Yeah.
Right. So, all that said, we went Thursday of last week, looked at it, test drove it. Wife loved it. Bought it. We were in and out of a dealership in about an hour and a half, which is always a good thing, and brought it home. And now we are the proud owner of a 2019 Chevy Bolt into 2023 Hyundai Ioniq 5 SEL rear-wheel drive.
And you said you've had about a week. No, haven't come across any major issues or anything like that.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah.
And it's got the white interior. The white interior was in really good shape. Yeah. There's a couple spots that could maybe just be cleaned, but not anything major, not anything a big deal. It's got some normal wear and tear on the front from
Yep.
being
Rock
a
chips,
40,000
little
mile
things
car.
like that. Yep.
Especially too, looking at the Carfax of the car, it was originally bought at the same dealership.
Oh, okay.
It lived in Little Rock all its life. It probably
So I'm
drove the
wondering if
430,
this was
30,
a
630
lease
triangle.
vehicle, maybe.
Maybe although the mileage was a little high.
So they
Which
got
I
it at
guess doesn't mean anything.
24. I mean, I get 15,000 miles a year for my Kia, so that would be if they bought
I'm
it
assuming
in
if it was I guess if they bought it in 22,
if it was a 23,
bought
this
in
would have been 3
22,
years.
then maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
That would make sense.
maybe it was it's only one owner, so I'm assuming it may have
Right.
been a lease vehicle.
All of
Which
its
is why
service
you
was
got it
been
cheaper because it was remaining lease.
right.
So yeah.
All of its service has been done at the dealership in Little Rock. And I just figure kind of the road wear and tear is because it has probably lived a lot of its life on the 34, 36, 30 triangle. And exactly. But no, I've had it for a week. It's been great. I'm still averaging good efficiency on my commute, which I was a little worried about. I think when I first got it and I was coming home, it was like 5 miles per kilowatt hour.
Yep. And that's
Driving my commute.
on non-EV tires too. You said it doesn't
It's
have
true.
the
Yeah, so they put 4 new tires on it, which cool. They're just regular tires, not EV specific tires, not necessarily the highest quality tires, but they're not like a cheap Chinese brand or anything like that.
there's new tires, so
But they're 4 new tires. They still have the nubbins on them. And so yeah, I mean, so far it's been great. Since it's a certified pre-owned, it came with Blue Link for a year, including navigation and the data and OTA updates and all that, which, I mean, there hasn't been an OTA update since April.
Kia Hyundai is not known for, I mentioned this before, it's not known for pushing out a lot of updates. You may get 1 or 2 a year.
That said, it's been awesome so far to have a car with an app that works.
Yep.
It's still not amazing, but it works. I can at least open it and get data out of it, which
what's interesting for me is that Hyundai and Kia kind of owned by the same company. Your car has the April map update, correct?
Yes.
I tried to do the April update on my car, and it said that it's been paused. And from what I read from the blogs, there was some sort of issue with the software that was causing some cars to brick up. So my map hasn't been updated since last October. And every time I start my Kia EV6, it lets me know that the map needs updated. I'm like, quit telling me the map needs updated. I know this. I can't do anything about it until October when they most likely release the next map update. So I'm kind of mad you got that and I didn't. So
I'm assuming the only reason I have it is because the person before me probably had Blue Link and got the OTA before it was pulled.
Yep.
Because I can't go to the website.
It's the Hyundai. I forget what it's called. It's the archaic 1980s looking website that you use to download your maps. Yeah.
When I go to the Hyundai version of a website, it still tells me that the update has been paused. So I'm assuming my car must have just gotten it over the air before it was pulled. Yeah.
Or it was in for service for an OTA. Or it was in for service for an OTA or a recall, and they said, "Oh, this is a map update available," and they did it for you, and then it was pulled. So, but you said it did go in for the ICCU recalls, correct? It has been in for that.
All the recalls are done. All that is good. Happy, everything. And like I said, I'm so far super pleased with it. We'll do a video at some point talking more about it. Probably get into a little more detail. But yeah, so far super pumped to be a 2 EV house and to have an EV that charges.
Go big boy charge that thing, Sebastian. Go big boy charge that thing.
Haven't done it yet.
Go big boy charge it.
Haven't done it yet. Maybe this weekend. We'll see.
Head off that flying J at 60 some cents a kilowatt and go big boy charge.
I can just go to Franklin's now. I mean, he's got the 280 kilowatts one now.
280. You can go over there. It's a little bit cheaper.
I only need like 212, 220, right?
Yep. So last weekend for me was kind of like 2 trips. So one was to Dallas, which we did not take an EV for. We took my son's car because I told him if it's his concert, I'm taking his car, and he's going to help pay for gas. So I made him do it. So that's what we did. But over the weekend, went to Northwest Arkansas, and it was the first time we went to Northwest Arkansas in the EV9. So it's not a big long trip, but I wanted to try out the navigating to charging. So
I know where this is going.
Oh, shit. Talk about ultra conservative. So I get there. We're going to Bentonville. So telling y'all, what is it? 180 miles probably.
Yeah, 180, 200, something like that.
So literally I could probably baby it. If it wasn't in the mountains and if it was cool, I could probably baby it and get it up there. But it wanted me to charge at Ozark, which is fine because I know that's where we always charge. It's fine. But then it wanted me to charge in Lowell. Lowell is like 10 minutes before my hotel. So, and then on the way back, it had me charge twice, but each time it was like 54% charge to 72%. You're there for 8 minutes. And then that was at Ozark. So I was leaving with right around 80%. And then it wanted me to stop in Conway again for 6 minutes in charge. I'm like, so I said no. So I just stayed and we just made the little stop longer in Ozark because, I mean, not on purpose, but just because we did. We just stopped longer than it had to be. It was longer than I went to the bathroom. We were hungry, got some chips. You know, we saw someone there, start talking to him. Ended up being a 12-minute stop. And that was actually fun to go back. But I don't know. They just seem to be very conservative with their navigation, which I understand. It's one of the first models that they've done, you know, route planning and things like this with navigating. I just probably going to start using a backup. So probably going to go maybe get an ODB or something like that and do a backup with it. Because if we're taking this car to Nashville or South Carolina going up, I don't want to stop me and tell me I had to make 4 stops when I'm going to Nashville. And each stop, I'm using 50% of my charge. So I tried to see if there was any settings. I thought you put set in there where I could change the settings. I believe it's only on AC charging, but there was some stuff in there. I thought maybe is the setting too high where it wanted me to stop at a supercharger. Couldn't find that anywhere. So I don't, but let me tell you this. The ride was awesome, quiet, comfortable, you know, riding in my son's Mazda 3. After about 3 hours, I have to use the butt pillow, you know. I had to stop and get a butt pillow on my way back from South Carolina because my butt starts hurting. 3.5 hours in this car, no problems. You know, it's nice, stretch out. Navigation worked fine, except telling me to stop every 2 hours to charge. But yeah, other than that, great car. So just got to tweak on that navigation. So
Yeah, and I mean, on the subject of route planning, you've discovered something else
yeah,
odd.
yeah. So the car is NACS. So all the new 2026 of 2026 have the NACS ports on it. I do have an adapter, but the area of the state I'm in, Northwest Arkansas, there is quite a bit of charging. So you have a Tesla supercharger up there, you have EA up there, and you also have a Walmart charger up there, which is free. So it's just it's CCS. So I did have to bring my adapter, which I have it in the car. I took the one for my Tesla and I use that. So, but every time I put route planning in, it brings up none of the CCS chargers. So like I thought, hey, it would bring up the free charger, which is like one exit after the Tesla supercharger. Nope, didn't bring that one up. I thought, hey, maybe it'd bring up the EA in Clarksville. Nope, didn't bring that one up either. Only routed me to Tesla superchargers. That's it. It did not route me to the new one that just opened in Alma, which I'm figuring when I look at it, it's not on the software map yet. So I don't know if that only happens on map updates. I don't know how that works with Kia. Do I have to wait till the map gets updated to that location to be added? I'm not sure, but I could have stopped there and charged, but it didn't route me there. I mean, there's literally within a 10-mile, which is odd. In that part of Arkansas, within a 5 or 10-mile radius are 3 Tesla superchargers. So you have Ozark, Alma, and Van Buren. Yeah. And then there's another one at Fort Smith, isn't there? Or not?
Mm-mm.
Okay, no. So literally within a 10 or 12 mile radius, there are 3 Tesla superchargers now in Arkansas. Of all places, that area. So yeah, but it did not route me to any of those. It only routed me to, it didn't route me to the Alma one because it couldn't. But yeah, no CCS. It showed up on the map that I could select them, but didn't route me to them.
So yeah, and this is something I think we noticed when we drove which comes out Monday. Funny timing.
Yep.
We drove the 2025 Ioniq 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's something we noticed when we drove the Ioniq 9 too. Both of those are also native NACS. Doesn't seem to be any way in the software to tell it you had an adapter.
Nope.
Which I guess I'm glad they don't assume you have one and route you there, and then you get there and you can't charge. But it feels like you should be able to tell it you have an adapter.
Yep.
Like that.
Because if you're buying that car and you don't know anything about planning or anything like that and don't know where chargers are, you're just going to Tesla every time, which is fine because, I hit 128 kilowatts, I think. I took a picture of it and sent it to you. I got 128 kilowatts. But it holds that. So
But if you were at a CCS station,
I'd be out in 5 minutes.
That
10
supported
minutes,
exactly
15 minutes. Yeah,
you could charge almost twice as fast.
Yeah, So,
Okay, maybe
which I
not
had my
almost another
which I
75
had
kilowatts,
my
but still.
adapter, but Clarksville, you said it's better, but still roll the dice, and
Yeah.
I didn't stop. So, but yeah, but I had no. I mean, I was the site in Northwest Arkansas is limited. I think you said the cables are limited. I was only getting, what did I show you on that?
Yeah, the Springdale Supercenter is cable limited. They're 250 amp cables.
I was only getting 150, 160 cables, not
Yep.
cables, kilowatts while I was up there charging. So, yeah, they're cable limited. It's an older station, it's a testing station, but it's free.
Right.
But so that's why I was like, hey, I had some time after I dropped my wife and son off at the concert. I was like, hey, let's do this. So, yeah, so I went there and just charged and went to Walmart real quick, came out the bathroom, and it helped. But the nice thing is it holds steady. So
Right.
for like 48% until 80, 150 some kilowatts holding steady, no drop off, no nothing. Actually, I went a little bit longer on the fill up on the way back, and above 80%, and still got like, was still pushing 80 or 90, over 80%. So wasn't bad.
Yeah. Random question.
Yeah.
Do I remember you telling me your EV6 won't route plan?
I don't think it does. No.
Interesting.
No, route plans, it doesn't play route plan to superchargers. No. Does
Okay,
yours?
but it does route plan?
I mean, it'll tell me
Okay.
from point A to point B, but it doesn't include superchargers. It will say,
Okay.
you will need to charge somewhere, pick one. And the first
Oh,
one's like 2 miles
okay.
away. Yeah.
No, so mine will put charging stops in.
It will?
Mhm.
So if you go from if you put from your house to Northwest Arkansas, it will route you to where you need to stop.
Mhm.
I'll have to check
I'm
mine.
not saying it's good.
Okay, I'll have to check mine because I haven't checked it lately because we have been road tripping with it. So
Yeah, because when I've played with it, because I haven't taken a trip yet, obviously, but when I
Yep.
put stuff in, it is still trying to get you to stop at like 50%.
yeah, I had
But, which this might just be because, the map updates from April, and I don't think Hyundai Kia had access to Tesla superchargers in April.
so that may be it
It
too.
won't
Yeah.
it won't route to Tesla superchargers. It'll
Okay.
only route to EA, EVgo, whatever.
Yeah, when I get in my car tomorrow, I'll have to play with that and see if I'll just put in like from here to like Nashville and see what
It's
happens.
pretty easy to see. When you put your route in, there's a checkbox at the top that says include charging stations, and that's it.
See, I never even looked at that, so I could be telling
But
all these
maybe
people
you're also
wrong.
too far out of date. Maybe you're just missing it. I don't know.
I mean, it's a 22. Maybe it wasn't available in the 22s. It only came in the 23s. I don't know. So
I don't know. Anyway,
I'll check tomorrow. That's my daily
that
driver
is
now. So
that is one area they still need to work on. I mean,
Yep.
and you have the benefit in the EV9 that you can at least manually precondition.
which I never,
So
honestly, I didn't have to do. Every time I hit
which,
that
I mean, it
activate
wasn't
button.
cold, so that
Yep.
makes sense.
Yep.
But I have to use to at least navigate to a charger.
Yeah.
In order for it to precondition. However, from what I've Googled, I've learned a lot of people for that don't actually put the charger if they're going into the navigation. They'll just pick a random DC fast charger.
So yeah, so I'm gonna let you know that. So when I was doing the test on the car with the electron adapter, and I wanted to see how well it would do. So to get it to precondition, I think I had to put another charger in and just keep looping. I think I put like Clarksville in, even though Clarksville was another hour and a half down the road. What I did is I put Clarksville in, and I just kept making a loop around around Conway on the interstate to get the battery down low enough to where I could charge it to about 30 or 40%, and then pulled into the Tesla one, still thinking I was routing to the Clarksville one. And I had everything on. It was middle of the summer. I had the windows down. I had the heat on. I had everything I could do to get that battery, to get that stator charge down so I could charge. But yeah, so I've heard people doing that too.
Which I've also learned in my research so far. It doesn't sound like EV6 and Ioniq 5 cool the battery for fast charging. So like the preconditioning doesn't cool the battery. Or at least on the pre-refresh models. It will heat the battery if it's too cold. But it doesn't seem like it does any cooling to prep for fast charging. Anyway, it's a little weird.
Yep.
But I guess ultimately cold is probably a bigger issue for them than heat is.
Yeah. I mean, I never had any issues plugging in and not getting full power. So, like I said, every time I plugged in a supercharger with the Kia EV6, always over 200 kilowatts. I mean,
Yeah.
could it be 210 or 220 or 230 and fluctuating there? Yeah, but it's always over 200. I'll take over 200 any day of the
Yeah.
week. So,
I think also we have the benefit of we aren't somewhere that it gets cold enough to really matter.
yep,
Um, Especially you have a garage, so yours can park inside and not get, freezing cold overnight or anything
yep.
like that.
But that's
I
it. We'll,
don't
we'll,
have a
we'll
garage,
test in the
but
wintertime here because we do have cool days in the winter. So in the
yeah.
wintertime, we'll test it and go out and go to supercharge shows. By then, the North Little Rock one will be open not far from us. So 10 minutes down the road and test and see what happens. So
Well, we'll need a test on like Franklin's or something because we'll both
we'll
only
need
get
to,
97
well,
kilowatts
that's
on a
right.
Tesla
That's right.
supercharger.
That's right.
But
We'll need
yeah,
some big boy
so
charging. Yep.
all of this conversation to say, I guess we need to stop calling ourselves EV Geek Studios and start calling ourselves like EGMP Studios.
EGMP. Well, one of the reasons you didn't get the Ioniq, because there was an Ioniq, there was a EV6 out there. I think one of the dealerships they had a wind or a light, and you looked at it and you're like, I don't want an EV6 because you already have one. That would just be like the EV6 Duo or something
Also,
like
that one
that.
was
So
about $2,000 more expensive than the
it
Ioniq
was,
5 I found.
it
And
was.
again, basically the same car. I personally like the more traditional SUV shape of the
Yep.
Ioniq 5, and I like the interior layout a little bit better,
Me too.
dude. So again, we'll talk more about all this stuff in a video.
Yep.
The number of times how the Ioniq 5 before the refresh and they put the center console in the refresh, how the original ones are just open between the seats
Yep.
except for the two cup holders. The amount of time already I have used that to store, like we went to the library today after work and had like a bag of like 10 books. Do you know where the 10 books rode on the way
Yep.
home?
Big thing.
In the giant space in between the two front seats.
My wife loves it. Loves it to put her purse in. She can slide
Yeah.
her purse down there. Now, for me, we got one of those from Best EV Mod, a little tray thing to put in. So it has some compartments, couple extra cup holders, and that's good for me because I have my badge for work and some other stuff I can just kind of throw down there because the actual lift up console on these cars is not very big. At least not
Mhm.
on the EV6 is
No.
not very big.
The Ioniq 5 is
The
very
size.
small
It's the
because it
size
can
of a big
fully
of an. Yep,
lift out of the
it's
way.
the size of an index card, so
Yeah.
it's not very big, and I can throw stuff down there, in those little compartmented areas, which works out good. Shout out to Best AV Mile for sending that to me. So yeah,
So anyway, all right. I think I've talked enough about new car stuff. Again, we'll have
but
a
we'll have a
whole
full review. Yep.
video talking about more of the purchase process and everything, how that all went down. If you're listening to this though, you get a sneak peek. Um, All right. Well, that is a wrap for today's episode. Thank you all for plugging into the Friday Charge. Be sure to subscribe to EV Geek Studios on YouTube and tap the notification icon to be notified about new releases. Next week, we are releasing a funnily timed review of a 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5 Limited. If you guys have any thoughts or questions, drop them in the comments below because we would love to hear from you. So long, everyone, and we will see you on the next episode of the Friday Charge.